Hi, my name is Julio Castro. I am an instructional designer. I live here in Gainesville, Florida, and I started in this field or professional field, if you want to call it like that. I started in 2011 working for the local university as an instructional designer. Although, in fact, I started up as a LMS specialist, and I got my way around Sakai, which is the LMS that this university uses, and I had a past experience as instructor using both Vista and then the migration to Sakai. So I started using Sakai. I started working for this division that's the online division at this university. And so I transitioned from there to instructional design as more and more projects came in to the division. So I was assigned some projects, and I started working as an instructional designer. My experience has been phenomenal up to this point. I have learned a lot, and I'm still learning. And the first thing that many people find interesting about my profile is that I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer by training. I got a BS in mechanical engineering and a master's in science in engineering mechanics. And I'm about to get my PhD in chemical engineering. And the reason I started working for the online division is that I'm a grad student that hasn't had any support, so I had to find a way to earn some money. So I found this position, and then uh, I started being assigned more and more responsibilities as time went on. So up to this point, I have more than 2 years of experience, and like I said, I've learned a lot, and I'm still learning. And I would like to share my experience with all the people out there. Now, one of the reasons I've started this project is because I am fascinated by all this MOOC uh, development. And my university is, in fact, developing some MOOCs for Coursera. And I think pretty soon we're going to be also developing ones for Udacity. But I know that there are many more MOOCs out there. These two are the ones that are backed up by a lot of money. But there's smaller MOOCs out there. Now, to my understanding, the basic principle of why MOOCs started, or the idea of the MOOCs, is that knowledge has to be shared, and everybody needs to have access to this knowledge. So, being that many of the universities that participate in these projects are well-known universities with years of prestige as brick and mortar universities, with stellar faculty and ample resources, it was natural that they started as the spearhead of these projects. So as time went on, more and more universities started collaborating, and now there are even more universities adding to the Coursera, for example. So the main principle was that because many people don't have access to these universities, they won't have the experience of being in a classroom with this faculty. And so the idea was to share that knowledge, or at least give some kind of experience to those people. But there was another hidden point, or another reason of the MOOCs. And at the beginning, the idea was sold that it's also a marketing tool. The fact that the universities develop these courses and they are investing all these resources, it's with the second objective, or the second goal of attracting uh, better students, or attracting talent to the universities, or attracting potential students to the universities. well, it's not that they need more students. In fact, there are more. Many of these universities don't need more people to be applying to their universities, but um, sometimes talent is hard to come by, and in many cases, through these MOOCs, the hope is that some of them will decide to come, especially for graduate students. Although many of these courses being offered by the MOOCs are at the senior level, there are many courses that are being offered that are at the graduate level and also at the uh, freshman level. There are recently approved courses, for example. They are introductory courses in math and science and engineering. So that's the second idea of the MOOCs. And there are people out there talking about that there's really no point of the MOOCs being, and that there maybe people are just wasting resources and time on this in this thing, and that they have no immediate use, that people are really not benefiting from them, because the truth so far is that these MOOCs do not offer any kind of credit or any kind of valid certificate that a university will recognize as a course that completes some kind of credit. So that being the reason, many detractors to the MOOCs argue that because of this, the MOOCs are overblown, and it's just a, a investment from a bunch of rich universities, or that it's just a scheme to get people into buying into these MOOCs and so on. I embrace the MOOCs because I think even though they are not going to change the world, let's face it, the MOOCs are not going to change the way education it's being done today. The universities are not going to go away. The online education is not going to go away because of the MOOCs. The MOOC is just another tool. Now, what's the difference between an online class and a MOOC? Well, to begin with, the MOOCs only run for a few weeks. So you really don't have much time to go into depth into your class. So basically the difference is depth. So you have it. An online class at a regular university usually runs for many weeks, usually 12, 16 weeks. So there's plenty of time to develop the depth, or to go into depth into the material and make the students learn through more activities and more engagement to the course. So there's more possibilities because of that. So that's a big difference. One of the big differences is the time and the depth of the material. Now, what I think the MOOCs are important is because they're rich, of course. The fact that many students are enrolling these classes, that they sign up for these classes and they go through all the material. The fact that anybody in the world can log in and take one of these courses fascinates me. But the unintended consequence of this is that the completion rate is really poor. A recent study by Duke University showed that in a course that they released in Coursera, they had more than 10,000 people enrolled, and only about a little bit above 300 completed the course, receive a certificate. So that's a very poor completion rate. If this course was an online course, it'd be scrapped off the books or right away as a money loser. But again, the MOOCs are not being developed to make money right now. Although the people running these MOOCs, Coursera, Udacity, edX, are looking for a model that's going to provide some revenue. So the business model is still not shaped. It's not coagulated, if you want to call it. Um, they are still looking for the best model, and call it badges or but I think that's beside the point, really. They are the ones that have to be worried about making money. The universities are only worried about developing a high quality course, and so that's where I see the importance of the MOOCs. And even if at some point this Coursera or Udacity go belly up because they can't find a way to make money, um, just like Harvard, I think the universities eventually will create their own MOOCs, and they will be running these MOOCs by themselves as opposed to letting somebody else do it. In any case, it fascinates me that the reach of these MOOCs, and um, but I think there's still a lot of work to be done, and also the fact that there's not much out there. Coursera and Udacity are very touchy about the data they release, and unless the university that ran the MOOC is willing to release the data, they are not releasing anything. And so nobody knows exactly how these MOOCs are being made, and the only thing we know is that the universities are investing a lot of money, a lot of resources, um, time and personnel to develop these MOOCs. Well, I am inside, I've been part of the project of developing a MOOC. Although I wasn't very close to the project, I was actually in the sidelines, but I'm hopeful that pretty soon I'll be able to start developing a MOOC for the university, and I think it's going to be an exciting experience. And again, there's still a lot of work to be done. MOOCs have many limitations. One of them is it's the student-student interaction. It's really hard to do when you have 50,000 people enrolled. Um, Case in point, that is the online learning course that was being developed by the University Georgia Tech, and it failed. Um, the problem was that, again, they tried to use a tool, Google Docs in this case, that restricts the number of participants. And so having a lot of groups of 50 people is not a very optimal situation. You don't want to be managing that kind of quantity of uh, forums. So there are still many issues with the MOOCs, and the recent development of this, like I mentioned, those MOOCs are being approved by ACE. The the main problem here is going to be the assessment part of these MOOCs. If you're going to be earning credits in one of these MOOC courses, you need to make sure that the testing it's optimal, that there was no cheating, that there was um, no extraneous material was used by the student when they completed the assessment. And unfortunately, right now, this is not being done in the MOOCs. So proctoring is going to be a key issue here. And I've had the opportunity to know some companies that sell their services to universities as proctoring for proctoring, and in these cases they're able to handle a number of students, but I don't think they have the capability of handling as many students as a MOOC can have, especially if you're going to be giving credits for these MOOCs. That number of people completing the course is going to increase. I mean, they have an incentive to complete the course now, even though at the end they had to pay for the proctoring service. They know they can get a credit, so they'll have an incentive to complete the course. So instead of having 300, you're probably going to have 1,000 or something students trying to take the final exam. And an online proctoring service is not going to be the optimal uh, avenue in this case, because remember, these courses are being taken by people all around the world, and many of them don't have the internet connection needed to have this kind of proctoring service. Um, so what I'm thinking is that they're probably going to resort to the same model that uh, these uh, companies use for testing for the graduate record examination or the TOEFL exam or something like that. They're probably going to find partners in countries that are demanding these MOOCs, and they're probably going to develop testing centers in those places and provide the service there, either on site or online, according to the infrastructure of the country where the testers are going to be taking the exam or the assessment. So I think in that case the model will work, because the cost of and the inconveniences produced by the proctoring service are going to be spread into to multiple partners. And so these companies still will make money, but they'll have to partner. Of course, given the option of taking the proctoring online directly to the company here in the US based the company, it's going to be an option. But I think in many cases, the proctoring center is going to be a better approach. And I think that's what's coming up right now to the MOOCs. And this subject of the MOOCs is one of the ones I'll be talking about a lot. I publish in my blog. If you go to my blog, it's called momentalearning.blogspot.com, and you can check out my posts. I'm also developing content for other e-learning applications for online classes. And my experience has reached not only college level courses, but I'm also involved in developing professional development courses for certification purposes. So my experience has been broad in these areas, and I like to share this information with you. If you either read my posts in my blog, or you can also watch my videos. This is the first one. I hope you enjoy it. I've enjoyed making it, and I think it's going to give me the opportunity to just talk about other topics that it will be just time consuming to type, if you will, and this way I can also order my ideas when I actually sit down and write my own posts. I'm also involved in another project, but I'll be talking about this in another video. In the meantime, please visit my blog. You can also contact me in Twitter. My handle is J as in John, C as in cat, C again, V as in Victory 72, JCCV72. You can also like my Facebook page. It's Momenta Learning. Uh, uh, it's also but all the information is in my blog that you can visit and check. Don't remember, you can also answer the question of the week, um, and you can send your comments, and I'll be posting this of course this video posted on YouTube will also give the opportunity for you to give any other comment. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you soon.